Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be playing some Connect 4, a very new game I've been picking up. We're going to discuss some strategies. We're going to be seeing how we do in these next few games against my opponent. So right off the bat with this game, I'm starting on yellow. So I start in the middle just so I can have priority on both lanes and they can't get any bottom rows. I also have another piece of mine in the far right in the corner just so I can get another diagonal connect for. Um, it's my main strategy. It's obviously not going to work every time, so you're just going to build around it. That's just how I play. There's a lot of optimization around it. It's a new strategy I've just come up with. And right there, I was actually trying to decide where to put my pin, just because I was thinking of some other strategies we could go for. There's obviously the left diagonal side, but what I was trying to do was I was trying to go from the middle all the way to the right side, just so we could get like a new play. Obviously, I played against this opponent more than once, so they probably got a good idea of what I'm trying to do. Um, but it's all just about what's going to happen in the moment. This is a very deep game, so they go for that play right there, and I noticed that I can actually go for the left side piece, so I have priority on both lanes, and I'm in a really good spot. There are a lot of plays I can do from here. I could go diagonal, sideways, up or down, whatever you feel like. Now it just boils down to whatever our opponent decides to do next. Maybe they feel like throwing a wrench in my plan. Maybe they feel like doing something else. I don't know. Maybe they don't know. We're just gonna see what happens from here. And what happens next will shock you. So they go for their own little diagonal play. I have priority on all three like main spots of the entire game, so I'm like wondering what they're doing. I go for my own little setup just to like see what happens next. Try and get some plays going because I'm thinking there are like multiple ways I could win. So the first like portion of the game, you're just gonna spend trying to set all of those up while playing defensively. Currently I'm on the attack right now. Um, they're just like trying to like get around my attacks. You know what I mean? As I said, this is a very deep game. Not many people know how to play it. I'm not really sure what they did there. They were probably just trying to wait to see what I did next so they could stall for their own move. Or maybe they think I was just going to go for the diagonal there. Um, that's not too much of a bad play on their part. I do have a lot of things I could do right now, and that did shut down one of them for sure. So I'm deciding if I want to go for either one of those spots. I decided to take the bottom row just because it's more versatile. There are many more things you can do with just that one position alone. You could go for another diagonal play. I have a big cluster of tokens in one spot, which is good on one hand because you can do a lot of plays from there, but also, there's not much map diversity, but they don't really seem to be running the same sort of idea of map diversity either, so I'm in good territory. So their next move, they aim to shut me down. It's a defensive play, and they didn't really have many other options, so that did work out for me. However, they did create a horizontal space where I can utilize to my advantage. I decided to put another pin there, just so I have the choice to either go horizontally or diagonally. Send it to my opponent, wait for their next move. What they do next will shock you. And what I was probably thinking when I made that move is that I could go for the diagonal. However, it'd be very tough to get the fourth pin in there since you'd have to build up a long way. I'm not sure if you're looking at the same spot that I am, but hey, I'm just letting you know we got a notification from Lil Shiz. So after keeping me on the hook for a while, they decided to place down their pin. I'm not really sure what to do, so I placed down mine too. I create another diagonal sort of pattern that I can play off of later, and another horizontal surface that I can also place my pin on. Just kidding, I go for the most insane play of all time and force them to block off something I have to do, which will lead me to another win. This is called the 7 pattern. I'm just kidding, I made that up on the spot. But it works really well. Basically what they have to do is they have to place one pin, and then after you place your pin, you just gotta, send them straight to Jesus. Just a little tidbit of advice: if you use this strategy, you may ruin relationships with your friends. But, hey, you win the Connect 4 match. Potato, potato. Alright, so our next match here, I let my opponent take the initiative after that crushing loss. They go straight for the middle. They don't take the sides, so that's exactly what I did with my red token. I'm deciding what I do with my next one. I really don't want them to go for the 4 in a row, so I just block them off right away instead of trying to do something smart and just hope they don't really realize it. I don't really have much to say about this play. I think we're both being brain dead. Nothing really happened. Um, I'm pretty sure at the time I was just going for the diagonals. I placed out another corner piece and descended to my opponent. see what happens, see what gets cooking. Um, go for more diagonal plays. You know what? I'll be honest. After this, I got really cocky just because my opponent literally gave me a free diagonal. Not really sure what they were doing, but hey, I'll take it. It's a gimme. Thank you very much. So yeah, I'm practically oozing with confidence. I'm ready to win the game. They put it in the most perfect spot, right? So I go for the symmetry. There are so many plays I can do with this, right? I'm ready to win. I'm ready to be amazing. Get it. Continue the streak. What the fuck? After that crushing defeat, I was willing to do anything it takes to win. I go straight for mid, and what do? They go directly on top of me. I know exactly what to do. I go on the side. I take right side priority. I know exactly what I'm doing. I got the strat all laid out in my head. Just kidding. As I said before, this game is very deep. They put their token in a random spot, and I take left side. It's looking fantastic. Now it all just boils down into what happens next. I had to speed up the next 5 minutes of this battle because it was solely spent strategizing. This is very intense. My opponent ends up getting a lot of territory here, so what I do next is I start building a diagonal line just to try and get some plays going for me because I don't really have much momentum right now. Just really trying to see what I can do in the situation. It's not looking too good. Funny thing I noticed is that they started funneling it to the left side. Very smart strategy for people that are actually on the losing side of a game, just so they can bring it into their own territory. And then I suddenly have to play defensively. Honestly, I'd say this is a very smart play for them. Probably one of the only things they could have done to drag out the match for this long. You're going to see how long it takes in just a second here. So for the next play here, my opponent tries to go for some risky business, and right now I'm just trying to decide where I want to cancel them out and like where it'd be most helpful to do so. I'm thinking like the bottom, just so I could have more versatility, and the top, maybe just so I could go for some bigger plays. I decided to go for the top. I'm sort of on the losing side, so it is better to go for bigger risks right now since I don't have as much to lose. But we'll see how that turns out in just. So what my opponent decides to do here is shut down one of my diagonal lines I could have gone for. Very smart play, but what I do instead is I set up the lucky number 7, which won me the first game. It's a very smart strategy. As I said, this game is very deep. One thing I could have done better in this game is utilized my territory on the left side because there's literally 2 tokens there that I practically wasted. Um, Later in the game, we're going to see those 2 spots didn't really get much play. But yeah, definitely well played to my opponent for that. I'm not sure if that was on purpose, but yeah. It seems like their next play here was to completely shut down my left side, even if it didn't really have much potential, as I said. But yeah, it's, good play. One thing they did is they got me into a really vulnerable spot, so I couldn't actually place a pin in that one place where, we're just both waiting. So we're sort of in a stalemate where the first person to place down a pin is the one who loses. So it's a very interesting circumstance. The rest of this video just goes on for a long time, so I sped it up and put on some cool music. Yeah, so yeah, around this point things were getting really sketchy. It was basically just a 50-50 chance of who was going to win next, and somehow I got the 50-50 chance, and I won the game. My opponent was very, very hesitant to place down their final pin, but eventually they gave in, and I got the dub. Yeah. And finally, after the match of a lifetime, I knew there was only one thing left to say.